What's going on, guys? TK Pryor coming at you. And a lot of people are very critical of everything I do. I don't know why I have so many critics, because I try to effectively reach people with something positive, but yet I get back a lot of negative. So the first thing people say is that I am a word sandwich and I have no point. So I'm going to tell you with the beginning of this video, the point is to say protect your fiat currency before it becomes worthless. So America has two problems, and it's everybody else's problem because every dollar is pegged to the US dollar. So the first problem is overprinting and the devaluation of existing money supply based on that overprinting. Second problem is a lack of circulation, where 90% of the resources are held by 10% at the top. So that creates engineered scarcity, because people who need have no means to get. And as long as the people at the top who have are comfortable, no one really cares. So that leads to the fundamental problem of fiat currency as a whole, because people feel like as long as I'm okay, who cares about everybody else? So in the inherent problems built into fiat currency, a solution was provided. That solution was proposed in 2008 by a software system that manages how we send money from person to person. And it does it in an open ledger transparency system where your transaction is recorded and made public for everyone to see, that transaction is broadcast. So in the broadcast transaction, it's hard to lie, steal, become greedy, hoard, everything that's built into our system right now. So there are a lot of proponents against cryptocurrency, encrypted digital currency, because of the fact that it does all of its bank recordings in open format. So how is it you're able to do something illegal in evil nature if it's in an open public bank account in which everyone can see the accounting? So of course, those who are protected at the top of fiat are not interested in participation in a public bank account where everyone can see what's taking place and what transactions are real and not real. Because validation of a transaction is based on consensus. So here we are at the proposal of a new system. And in the new system, there's no excuse for transaction fees because of the public bank account in which everyone can see each transaction. So I've always been a proponent for decentralization because of the fact that it allows public viewing of bank accounts. And that transparency in itself gets rid of a lot of the inherent problems within our fiat monetary system. So there's the proposed change, and a fundamental reason why people are against that change. But it doesn't affect one's ability to use cryptocurrency. So before the advent of electronic money and encrypted transactions between a peer-to-peer, person-to-person, we had gold and silver. And gold and silver for 6,000 plus years has been the backbone of all financial transactions because of its rarity and because of the other proponents that make it easy to use for money. So here's the deal. The deal is, to save yourself, you need to acquire alternate forms of money. Gold money, silver money, or cryptocurrency. Now that becomes financial insurance that gives you a plan B, something else you could dip into and use no matter what happens to the fiat monetary system. Because here's the proponents for fiat. We can just print our way to infinity. The United States government is broke, insolvent, and for the longest has been printing money to pay its bills. So we are $200 trillion in future obligations. We are $19 trillion in debt. And the answer to that deficit is to print money. But printing money causes devaluation of the money in current supply. So a dollar today won't be worth what it is a year from now. And these are proponents that the average person can't seem to grasp. So holding money in fiat format, in paper, is actually a liability. And in the 21st century, savers are losers. So the best thing to do is convert paper money into alternate forms of higher money and currency. And to do that only secures your family and your financial future. Because historically, as fiat money loses value, gold and silver rise in value. And on top of that, cryptocurrency has the same rise in value opportunity if you get involved. So I'm a proponent for people to prevent Greece, Rome, Zimbabwe. The American Empire is Rome right now because we are repeating the steps in Rome's failure. A devaluation to the point of oblivion, and then a physical reaction in the market based on the money supply not being worth anything. Typically, that response is hyperinflation. So how many people live in an area where negative interest rates are real? Where you have to pay the bank to put your money in it? How many people realize that your money is not your money? It is the government's money loaned to you as legal tender. How many people realize that when you put your money in the bank loans it out and leverages it 30-to-1, and that's what creates the money supply within our system, which is why you cannot take $100,000 off the bank without permission. How many people realize that the debt system is entrapment and modern day slavery is debt-based? Because servitude is always granted to who you owe money to. So people live in debt, live by debt, and no one feels like there's ever going to be any repercussions. So here's the synopsis. Do something. Convert out of paper before it's too late. Because in the New World Order, it's not about polarization. It's rich and then there's everybody else. And that's just factual. What if in November there is no November? A 12-year-old girl proved that all presidents are from the same cloth as a school project. Google it. The president is not elected. It's an office that's selected. So the person that pulls the strings is the banking cartel. Because the heart of the fiat money or monetary system is the cabal behind centralized banks. So it doesn't matter who sits in the office, the power behind the office is at the central bank. And the shareholders that are connected to the central banks. So these are just things that I think about, because if I tell you these are things that I research, you're going to say bullshit. So I will give this to you as personal opinion and my personal synopsis in terms of things that I think about.